Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy. This particularly wintry day. I think the temperature is something like 4 degrees C. Today it's 7th of January. As always, when it's cold weather, the benefit is not having to bring all that additional faff to chill a bottle of wine, a bottle of English Sparkling. So I don't have the usual, whatever that jacket, insulated jacket thing is, just brought it out like this, and I'm sure it'll be fine. It was in the fridge at home. This is an interesting producer called Plumpton. Now, those of you who know something about English wine will know that Plumpton College is the main wine course teaching college in the UK. I'm sure there are others that offer wine related courses, but in terms of winemaking and viticulture, vine growing, I think it's without a doubt the sort of premier college for teaching those courses, and may well be the only one I think that specialises to that extent in viticulture. It's an agricultural college generally, but a few decades ago now they started to branch off into wine growing, winemaking. So this is partly made by the students at Plumpton College. They do also have a resident winemaker who I believe also does some of the teaching. So, it's supervised student-made wine, I believe. In fact, I was briefly on a part-time course at Plumpton College. I did their viticulture course, 8 or 9 sessions spread out over the growing year. So we started in something like November and it ran until roughly, was it June perhaps of the following year, something like that. Just one session a month, one day a month. We'd spend the morning in a pub, actually, a function room of a pub doing sort of theory, and then we'd be out in one of Plumpton College's vineyards in the afternoon, sometimes in really abominable weather. And I think the key takeaway from that is that viticulture is a hard job. You can't just sort of say, can't be bothered today, I don't feel like it. We were out there in all weathers, snow, hail, downpours, baking heat, and everything in between. These are envy wines, the sort of classic cuvée, I suppose this is, the Brut classic as they call it, from Plumpton. It does have some technical information on the side. It said that it was bottled in July 2021. The disgorgement date was earlier last year I should say, May 2023. It could be that some of the fruit in here is from vines that I was sort of helping to tend in a very inept way as a part-time student at Plumpton, possibly in that sort of age range. It also has the grape breakdown varieties, so it's actually Pinot dominant, this one, which is a style that I tend to prefer. 41% Pinot Noir, 34% Pinot Meunier. It's a high percentage of Pinot Meunier. It's often there in tiny quantities, if at all, and 23% Chardonnay. Does that add up to 100 maybe? The numbers are tiny, I might have slightly misread them, but that's sort of ballpark. This is, possibly a bit hit and miss given the student involvement. Of course, many of the best winemakers in England, in fact, quite possibly most of the winemakers of England, passed through Plumpton College at some time or other. Dermot Segru, I believe, was there, and many that followed since. So, but of course, everyone has to start somewhere. Even the best winemakers probably made some mistakes at some earlier point in their career, and that's what we potentially have here. I can't open it. Really slippy cork. I need to find something to get a bit of grip. I've never had such a hard time getting a cork out. Perhaps this is some sort of student prank. Okay, got to come out now. Oh, not a very resounding pop there, was it? That's not a great sign. Oh well. The wind's quite chilly, so I'm going to have to put that scarf back on at some point. Well, pretty good mousse on that. The bubbles look reasonable shape, so What do we have on the nose then? Not much initially. It's a bit cold, perhaps my nose is running a tiny bit. If I'm getting a waft of anything, it's slightly more appley than anything. Yeah, appley. The texture's not quite right on that, to be honest, either. It's a bit sort of, it's not flat, but it's kind kind of lacking volume in the mouth a bit. And there's a very sort of subtle kind of hint in there of something like stone fruit, very, very distant sense of something like plums, something slightly appley. Yeah, and there's some sort of slightly more fruity flavours on the palate. Again, something kind of in the stone fruit sort of area, slightly bitter. A huge amount of acidity in there, interestingly. Not really convinced that's in great shape, but I'll keep sipping at it and come back to you. Nice sky behind me, at least. Not exactly sure where the sun is setting, but it's a lovely kind of pinky orangey glow over there. Still not getting much on the nose from this though. There's definitely some fruit flavour there on the palate. Whatever is there on the nose is very faint indeed. So I'm wondering if this is possibly slightly faulty, I don't know. It's a while since I've had Plumpton. I remember being a little bit hit and miss before. And that's not just my slightly unfair prejudice about student-made wine. I mean, I was potentially part of the process in a very, very indirect way. All I was doing was pruning the vines, and I probably did a bit of a bodge job of that. But various parts of the process of this wine being made are, at least indirectly, under supervision, done by students rather than fully trained professionals. So, like I say, bit hit and miss. But the sunset's lovely, even though it's bloody cold. Cheers.